Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here.
My dog, you look good. I'm gonna give you this one.
I look good.
I'm gonna give you this one.
You took a leap of faith. You tried a different color that's not on the Roy G. Biv color spectrum. Okay. And what is it? Something favors a bold. I forgot to say.
Fortune?
Fortune favors the bold.
Yeah,
Swag Wars does as well.
You trying to overtalk the fact that ain't it.
Not today.
Still look good. Watch your mouth.
Young Bishop in training over there. All right, let's get it started with Aaron Rodgers.
He dominated the 49ers last night with 4 touchdown passes. During the win, he joined Tom Brady as the only players to throw at least 24 touchdowns with 2 or fewer interceptions in the first 8 games of the season. And Rodgers only trails MVP frontrunner Russell Wilson in touchdowns this season. So, Acho, is Aaron Rodgers the biggest threat to Russell Wilson for the MVP?
Man, absolutely. I'm glad Aaron Rodgers had a pick-me-up kind of game. Not that he was bad the week before against the Vikings, because Rodgers was actually great, but they lost, so the Packers needed to be picked up.
Exactly.
If I'm not mistaken, Marcellus, 7 touchdowns, no picks over the last 2 games against the Vikings and yesterday against the 49ers. That's good football.
That is ball.
Aaron Rodgers is not only the biggest threat to Russell Wilson, but I might go on a limb by next week to say that Aaron Rodgers will win the MVP. But for this week, let me stay in my lane.
Okay.
When I think about it, I look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. I look at those 4 gentlemen. But then, Marcellus, my first layer, I'm going to go ahead and get deep on you. Tom Brady, he has bigger fish to fry. He's not worried about an MVP. He's worried about other hardware. He's worried about winning a Super Bowl, worried about proving that it is him, not Bill Belichick. Patrick Mahomes, they paid him $450 million. Not to win an MVP. He got bigger fish to fry. They're talking a dynasty. They want to win not 1, not 2, not 3, 5, 6, 7 chips. Okay. That's what Patrick Mahomes and his receivers have said. But now you look at Russell Wilson, all he's talked about this season. I don't just want to vote. I want to win the whole dang thing. Let Russ cook. Aaron Rodgers, he realizes, he looks around, y'all ain't giving me much as on defense, so I don't know if I can win the whole thing. But what can I do when you go out here and you trade up and draft a first-round quarterback? Yeah. What can I do? I can still show y'all that I'm that dude and I can win MVP. When I look at the individual motivation, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, I think, are the 2 players that are more focused on winning that individual award as opposed to the other 2 players who got bigger fish to fry. I do think it is exclusively Aaron Rodgers if anybody's going to challenge Russell Wilson.
Man. Disagree with you right there.
Look,
I can hot take this one. Aaron Rodgers is in the conversation, certainly by his production, by his performance so far this year. But you spend a lot of time talking about the people that are actually in front of Aaron Rodgers as a threat to Russell Wilson. You told on yourself. You know that, right? I heard a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes. Why are you bringing him up if we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson? You know why? Because you know he's in the conversation actually in front of Aaron Rodgers. And you say, well, what's his motivation? Here, he got $450 million. He has bigger fish to fry. I don't know about your plate, but I got big fish on my plate, little fish on my plate. I got some veggies, I got some sides, whatever I need to eat. But remember, in part, you get $450 million because you already have an MVP on your resume. Having another one never hurts. You talk about the motivation of Tom Brady. You got bigger fish to fry. Do I? Being 43 and winning another MVP, will that shut some of the critics, naysayers, those who said I was a system quarterback with Bill Belichick, would that shut some of them up? I think it would. But let me beat up your argument in terms of Aaron Rodgers. There are 2 things that's going to disqualify him from winning the MVP. One is the team, they have to be better. And 2 is the fact that he needs to finish better. Let's start with the team. Since 2013, 5 of the 7 MVPs have been number 1 seeds. Only 2 exceptions as a 2 seed. Matt Ryan when he won with the Falcons. And then let's go back to A-Rod when he won in 2014. But that was a tiebreaker for the best record, so they were really number 1 in record. Other than that, you got to be number 1 if you're going to get this. Where are they right now? Oh, man, in the NFC, they're number 3. Seattle and Tampa Bay. In the AFC, it's Pittsburgh, and it's the Chiefs. Didn't say the Packers in that. So the team, they have to play better. The MVP has changed, it's morphed in terms of what you're looking for in terms of criteria for the voters. Also, let's look at Aaron Rodgers. As he goes throughout the season, usually starts hot. And this is a myth about Aaron Rodgers, especially of late, that when he's at home in Lambeau in the cold, that's when he really shows out. Not according to the numbers right here. Rodgers' win percentage in November, December, and January in the last 2 years, just 52%. His passer rating goes from, where is it now, 117, down to 94. Oh, so Russell Wilson goes from hot to lukewarm as the season progresses, but Aaron Rodgers actually goes from hot to cold, opening up an opportunity for Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady to save the day.
I like your take, but
it was great. It was phenomenal.
This is going to be one of those years, Marcellus, where there's not a clear front runner. Last year, Lamar Jackson, we knew by about week 11, week 12, he was taking off with the MVP.
Okay.
Year before, Patrick Mahomes, we really knew by about week 10, week 11, he's going to get 50 touchdowns. He's taking off with the MVP. This year, I think it's going to be a tight race. So what's it going to come down to? Style points. A college term, typically. How much can you outscore your opponent by to make it to a bowl game? But it might come down to style points. So while you make an argument, the same argument you're making can be undermining itself. A catch-22, what do I mean?
Let's go.
If the Bucs are running away with the division, right? If the Bucs have the head-to-head tiebreaker against the Packers,
that works.
You get to week 17 and that game is now meaningless. You want to know who's going to sit? The 43-year-old Tom Brady against the Atlanta Falcons, who also would probably have nothing to play for in week 17. If the Packers are still playing to win their division, week 17 against the Chicago Bears is what it looks like. You want to know who's not going to sit?
Who's going to be going full throttle?
Aaron Rodgers going full throttle. So I think this is going to come down to the little things. It looks like the Kansas City Chiefs or they still going to have a lot to play for because the Steelers right now are in that 1 seed. But when I really look at Aaron Rodgers, he has individual goals to prove.
Okay.
Say what you will, bro. Right. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is as concerned this year with winning an MVP as winning a Super Bowl.
But does that correlate, like, your concern level to you actually acquiring the trophy? A lot of people want it.
When I think it does is when I think it does, because I do think week 17, Aaron Rodgers, I think he sat earlier on when he won the MVP at one of his prior 2 MVPs. I don't see Aaron Rodgers sitting. Russell Wilson, for example.
Okay.
You know good and gosh darn well. Russell Wilson, he is not coming out of a game this year if he don't have to. Even if he has to, he's just going to be like, hey, you know what? I'll hand the ball off, Pete. I promise you I will. Hey, check. DK, run this go route. Like, Russell Wilson has talked about wanting to win this award. So when I say care, that emotional care, I think will play itself out onto the field.
Well, you just said something, and I want to put it in a frame and expose it. You said it's going to come down to the little things. Little things like how you finish, right? In every race, it's not how you start,
it's how you finish.
How you finish. Aaron Rodgers, how do you usually finish the season? I told you the last 2 years. Look at this passer rating of his 94 in the last 2 years in November, December, January. You know who has a better passer rating than Aaron Rodgers in those last 3 months of the season? Baker Mayfield. Is that going to help you win MVP if you're not playing as well as Baker Mayfield by passer rating? What about Derek Carr? Oh, my God. Kirk Cousins, all guys who have better performances November, December, January, the last 2 years. Aaron Rodgers needs to pick that up. You say it's about the little things. I love that frame. Love this picture inside of it. Because if it's about the little things, when you think of Aaron Rodgers and you think about Tom Brady, if they have comparable stats, what would you go to? How did they play when they played each other? How did they, look, it shouldn't be a part of the voting criteria, but it is, because your offense is going against their defense, but still. Head-to-head, Tom Brady smoked Aaron Rodgers. You don't even want to go down the path of
Here's the problem with the sample size you're picking from.
Okay.
You're picking from 2 years in which we all, not I, because I didn't, and I don't think you did, but the world collectively said Aaron Rodgers is done. Remember, the last 2 years was why Aaron Rodgers, everyone thought he was off the hill.
Going 13-3?
But Aaron Rodgers only had 26 touchdown passes all season to his, what does he have, 24 right now. So you're picking 2 years in which we concluded, the Packers concluded because they drafted Jordan Love, that Aaron Rodgers is done.
I'm picking because that's
a hard selection, a little selection bias.
It is. It's helping my argument a lot. But you know why I did it? Because it's under this system, under this coach. I said, okay, let's get some continuity. I didn't want to just go back where he was with Mike McCarthy, who you think is a horrible coach. I would have never want to do that to Aaron Rodgers. So let's give him somebody you think is a good coach, and Matt LaFleur. So that's where I went.
Let's now talk again details.
Okay.
Who has Aaron Rodgers played without for 5 games this season? His number 2 receiver, Allen Lazard. Who has he played without for 2 games this season? His number 1 receiver, Devontae Adams, who just gave us, 170+ on yesterday. If Aaron Rodgers has given you 24 touchdowns, missing his top 2 receivers for a collective 8 games, What you think he gonna do the rest of the season, the next 8 games, if you give him his top receivers, because Allen Lazard is supposed to come back, if you give him his top 2 receivers going forward. Imagine Russell Wilson's stats without DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett for a collective combined 8 games or 7 games for the Seahawks over these first couple games.
Be quiet, dog. I love you too much for us to even continue this battle because you're going to come out as a loser in this battle.
I don't know how.
You don't know how? Them old-ass voters ain't going to be sitting there saying, who was missing in week 3? Them people don't know about who was missing week 3. They want an elevator pitch to sell you on who's the MVP. A short story. You know about this. You got a book out. You got TV show. You got everything going on, big dog. Young mogul in the house. Keep me young, too, baby, because if I'm associated with you, I get some of that, too. All right, here's the thing. When you get into an elevator, you have 30 seconds. Seconds to say why. Give me Aaron Rodgers' elevator pick.
Easy.
It doesn't sound too good.
Aaron Rodgers' elevator pick, he has 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He did it without his number 2 receiver for the majority of the season, and he did it without his number 1 receiver for 2 out of the 8 games, 25% of the season, and he's still second in the NFL right now in touchdown passes. If that don't sell you, Marcellus, I don't know what will. Because I can easily undermine Russell Wilson's elevator pick.
Yeah, me too.
I can easily undermine.
Let's go.
Russell Wilson, they let him cook the entirety of the season. The entire offense is dependent on Russell Wilson. He has no running game, so he's been asked to do everything. That's why his stats are inflated. He has a second-round pick in DK Metcalf as his number 1 receiver, a 6'3", 235-pound freakazoid player. That is why his stats are inflated. I can easily...
Now, try and do that with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. It's going to get a little tricky. You're going to be like, is there a 13th floor? Because you're going to be in the elevator for a minute. You can't do it to them. Patrick Mahomes is outpacing an MVP season. People are sleeping on that because the expectations are absurd. But he's peaking.
Let me ask you this.
He's succeeding.
What about the fact that Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to get those 50 touchdowns? I don't think, and I told you this 2 or 3 days ago, I don't think people care about the fact that Patrick Mahomes only threw 1 pick. This is a show-me-now league, a glitz, a glamour league, a glitz and a glamour world. How many touchdowns? You have some interceptions? I don't care. How many touchdowns did you have? I don't think people are going to care about Patrick Mahomes' 1 or 2 touchdowns if he finishes a year with such, if he only has 42. 1 or 2 interceptions if he finishes a year with such.
Yeah, but if you finish in the 40s, then all of a sudden all other factors start to come out and be highlighted. If you get 50, shut up. We don't want to hear anything else. But I don't think Russell Wilson's going to get 50. What about Tom Brady? Tom Brady. Russell Wilson doesn't finish strong. Tom Brady, 43 years old, first year in a new system. Everyone else has continuity in this conversation. Hey, I just landed off the streets. Corona affected my team. I couldn't even practice with the guys. I was getting cited in violation because I was at parks just trying to get pickup football games. I had to break into my coach's house, didn't even know it was him. All of those things, and you're 43 and your team is the number 1 seed, number 2 seed at worst. Come on, man. There's no way you could beat up Tom Brady in terms of story, in terms of narrative. There's a strong rooting interest with old voters with one of their own as an elderly player out there still balling. Coming up at the top of the hour, Tom Brady and Drew Brees have a huge NFC South matchup on Sunday. We'll tell you which team needs to win more, but first, Brady's old team is off to a horrible start, but he's wishing them the best. We'll tell you if we actually believe him next. Speak for yourself.
To speak for yourself. Oh, it's my favorite topic. Tom Brady, he won 6 titles with Bill Belichick in New England, but that's all in the past because Brady's Bucs are Super Bowl contenders while the Patriots, they're just 2-5 for the first time in 20 years. Brady was asked about the struggles of his old team, and he took the high road. Y'all take a listen.
Well, I have a lot of relationships with a lot of teammates, so, I wish everybody the best all the time. I don't ever wish, for anyone to not perform at their best and so forth.
Don't do that.
I love it.
Don't do that.
Just take the high road. He's better than me. Tom Brady, you are a better man than me. But Marcellus, you let me know. Are you buying that Tom Brady's wishing the Patriots the best?
I am buying it. And way to be profound. Yeah, Tom Brady is better than you in football. Me too. Like both of us combined, plus some. And actually, he's probably better than everyone who's ever played the game in terms of accomplishments. So that's why you have to respect what he's saying right here, because he's coming from a different universe than you and I. But let me get my telescope out and look into where Tom Brady really is and understand that and hopefully convey that to you. Look, Tom Brady's mindset is this. Like everyone, he has an angel, he has a little devil over here, right? And we're all in this balancing act and trying to make sure that the angel wins out more so than the devil. So when you leave a situation that you love, that loved you back, made him the GOAT, He's in that situation where there is a part of him in his heart of hearts that wants that situation to feel the pain of missing Tom Brady. That's what the devil was sitting there with that pitchfork. You heard me. I said make him feel it. And then the angel, which has really led him to all this greatness in the first place, is sitting there saying, hey, man, why are you tripping on something behind you? That's not how you got to become Tom Brady in the first place. You think Tom Brady was sitting there drowning in his tears when he was a sixth rounder, 199th pick, and no one thought he would ever become anything like this? You think he cared about that? You think he had that mindset where he was like, I have something to prove to everyone based off of my pain? Nah, I have something to prove to everybody based off of my ability. Tom Brady has actually said this. He loves football. He wants to continue to play football because of the fact there's no entitlement. No entitlement. What does that mean in the game of football? That means last game doesn't matter. That means last play doesn't matter. That also means the last team I played for doesn't matter. I'm looking forward to the next opportunity to always prove myself. Acho, you're on a different planet, brother. Me, I'm on a different planet. Tom Brady actually means this. I think there was a second in there where he was like, let them feel it. Oh, they felt it. Okay, time to move on. All gains, all positive.
Big bro, I'm with you for a heartbeat. Bum, bum. But then I ain't with you no more.
You dead?
Tom Brady.
He dead. Rampart. Clear.
Bro, Tom Brady means it with the caveat. Tom Brady, he does wish the best for the Patriots.
You should.
Because he's balling himself. See, when you're successful, you don't care about someone else's success. It's when you're not successful that you're looking around like, uh-oh, what they got going on. See, Sal, you're not concerned with what someone else is making when you're making what you want to be. You're not concerned with how someone else is in a relationship when you happy. You get out of a relationship, you single, your previous lover, they single. You checking on Instagram, you checking on Twitter. You like, uh-oh, how she doing, how she doing, how he doing. But then as soon as you happy, you stop checking. And all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I wish them the best because I'm happy. So I don't care if they're happy or not. I just don't want their happiness to exceed my happiness. That is where Tom Brady is. He doesn't want the Patriots' happiness to exceed his happiness. But that's so far from possible right now. He's not worried about it.
Wow.
I'm 6-2, best team in the NFC. Y'all are 2-5, one of the worst teams in the AFC. So you know what? I am happy for y'all because I'm happy for me.
Wow, you really went there. So if the records were flipped, you think Tom Brady on record? On record.
Oh, on record.
What do you mean? Well, all you're using right now is him on record.
I think he would have gave us something subliminal. I think Tom Brady, if the roles were reversed, I think Tom Brady would have been like, you know what? I don't really watch those guys very much.
Oh,
I don't pay very much. Like Belichick said.
Yeah.
Belichick said, you know, I don't really pay attention to anybody else besides my opponent. I think Tom Brady would have made us read between the lines. He wouldn't have let us read the lines, but he would have made us read between them.
Yeah, you know what? You just showed me not only are you not Tom Brady in any sort of accomplishment in your life ever, especially
on the football field.
In life,
off the football field.
You have not done jack yet. To compare. Look at your face compared to Tom Brady.
Better check the resume.
Oh, I know it, Dad.
You better check the resume.
Ah, you're on to it. I'm taking you exactly where you need to be.
Let's go.
In that capacity, are you sitting there looking at other people who are competitors in you in those realms? Are you looking at them like, oh, look at them? Are you hating on them?
I'm not hating on them. Not right now. Not right now. That's my point.
No, well,
because I'm thriving.
Right, and Tom Brady thrives with them. So guess what? He's thriving, and he's always going to be thankful to that situation for helping build him.
Honest.
Come on, man.
So you lying to America. He's lying to you.
I want you to know, because you don't know this type of love, that when you're in this type of love situation, you want the best for somebody, even if you can't get the credit. Even if you can't claim them, even if they out there, they say, let the bird out the cage, let them fly free. In this situation, why would Tom Brady want to hate on the Patriots or even wish bad of the Patriots? I was on 4 different teams, and never did I wish bad on them. Only thing, and I admitted to this, I wanted them to feel the pain of missing me. But once I felt that satisfaction, which is minor, it could just be a defensive end not keeping contained. It could be the fact that they got exposed in the running game. It could be something minor. But to look at the situation as a whole, I'm still a Bills fan, brother. I'm still a Chargers fan. The rest of them teams, y'all can have that. I'm still a fan of the teams that helped make me because I contributed to them. I don't understand this whole, I was a part of you, but now I root against you. But that's true.
I got to bring somebody in to set you straight because my dog talking crazy. Let's bring in NFL analyst Uncle LeVar Arrington. So, LeVar, can you please set Marcellus straight? Are you buying that Tom Brady's wishing the Patriots the best?
I got to be honest with you. He's too much of an ultra competitive competitor to wish them the best.
Thank you.
I'm just
stop.
And let me just say this: it doesn't take much of a reflex. It doesn't take much time. It doesn't take much energy to not wish them well. Okay, so you're not going to do an interview and be like, I hate them, I hate their guts. I hope they lose every game. I don't want to see them ever win a game. There's no reason for Tom Brady to do that. But that devil on the shoulder, that super competitor, even that angel on the other side, that's a super competitor, is like, we told them, don't get rid of us. Don't get rid of us. So I ain't wishing you bad, but I certainly ain't wishing you well either.
Look.
Don't double down on that.
I have to.
Y'all are much better than
I have to, because Sal, you're so far wrong on this. Let me just bring you back in. You crossed over the double white lines. Let me get you back in the right lane that you need to be driving. Think about this. He crossed over them. He's swerving right now. I don't think he's drunk on set, but he's swerving. Sal, Tom Brady could not even mention the Patriots' name. When you can't mention your ex's name, when you can't even mention your former lover's name, you're still hurt. Sal, he said, I got love for all my former teammates. Mind you, he didn't say coaches. Mind you, he didn't say owners. He said, I got love for all my former teammates. He could be talking about his teammates in Michigan. Could be talking about his Pop Warner. Marcellus don't listen to the details. He was probably distracted.
Yes, I do.
He could have been talking about his Michigan teammates, his Pop Warner teammates, his Buccaneers teammates. I got love for all my teammates. Sal, he couldn't even mention them by name.
Let me help you.
You gonna tell me it ain't no hate?
No, it ain't no hate, because if you guys know about being a competitor, and I think all of you guys are competitors, but let's just be real. Whatever level competitor we are, Tom Brady's something else, or at least his accomplishments or something else. But let's talk about ultimate competitors. You know what they always root for? The best in somebody else so they could beat you at your best. Think about it. I don't care what level it is. If you're going to race the homie in front of the house, you don't want him to go out there and be like, yo, my hammy kind of tight, but let's race. You're like, nah. The ultimate competitor in you always wants to beat somebody at their best, fully loaded. If not, it's not as satisfying. You guys are being petty. This is why it matters, because you guys are actually saying, yo, I want to win a Super Bowl as Tom Brady as a Buccaneer, but I also want the Patriots to be at the bottom. What does that matter? You want everybody fully loaded when you go out there and beat them.
Correlate. You can't put those two together.
Get him, LeVar.
I can't allow you to do that.
All right, let's hear it.
You can't say I'm wishing them ill will to do well and me to win a Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what he's saying. That's not what Acho is saying. What we're saying is he doesn't have to wish them well, even though he's doing well, right? So to win the Super Bowl has nothing to do with him wishing them well in New England. You know what it has to do? It has to do with an emotion or a reflex. The natural emotion and the natural reflex is when somebody does not want you and you leave and you go your separate ways. I do not want you to be doing well.
LeVar, you got too many kids. You got too many kids to be talking about hate is a reflex. Hate is taught. It's socialized.
That's not hate.
Their natural reflex is to love.
But why does that have to be hate, Marcellus?
Thank you.
You're putting a negative connotation on the feeling of being wanted.
Answer me this, LeVar.
People want to feel wanted.
Answer me this. Wouldn't the best scenario for Tom Brady to be quietly to say, I want the Tampa Bay Bucs to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and let's go out there, and then we throttle them. To his point, the only person he wishes bad against is the team he plays against. Tom Brady, in the ultimate world, in the ideal world, you're going to play where you just went.
Hate.
Right?
In a way that's hate, though. And you want to know how that's hate?
Go.
You're hating because you want to play them to whoop them. You don't want to play them to lose.
He said that. He admitted that.
I want to play you to whoop you.
He said, I want to whoop the team I play, but everybody else I wish the best. So if you're going to really use words,
you got to have a negative feeling. There has to be somewhat of a negative feeling connected to me.
That's the only way y'all got up the mountain is negativity?
That's called revenge.
It is.
I don't need to go up the mountain any other way.
Success is the greatest revenge. What are y'all talking about?
Marcellus,
Go ahead, Acho. Go ahead.
I got y'all. One out.
Go ahead.
Come on.
Success is the greatest revenge. I'm not mad at you for saying success is the greatest revenge.
I really knocked his ass off the screen.
I'm not mad at that. So what I'm mad at you is for being ignorant enough to believe that I'm mad at you for being ignorant enough to believe that Tom Brady isn't at least a little cognizant of the fact of, okay, they sorry, and that is why I'm happy.
He is cognizant of that.
That is why he's happy.
His rooting interest. Acho, you are really telling on yourself. Are you mad at ESPN? Are you mad at Get Up?
No, because I'm balling. But that's my point.
But what if you weren't?
Then, yeah, I'd be a little salty.
You would?
I would be.
You have to, because that takes away your ability to be what you're being.
Facts.
What?
Because
Absolutely.
If
Come on, there's nothing wrong with that.
If success is the greatest revenge, success is
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
If success is the greatest revenge, success is in parallel to what else is going on, Marcellus.
If I need you to be less for me to be more, guess what? I'm not as much as I could be. It's just that simple.
No.
I can only stand tallest off of someone else who is standing
If you
tall.
have to be something to me at all, if you have to be something to me at all, there's an issue because there's an emotion being invested into it.
The issue,
you don't have to mean anything to me in that moment. If what you're saying is correct, you don't have to be anything to me.
The issue with what Marcellus is saying, because I don't want to be, if I have to be tall, if you got to be less for me to be more, the defining factor is what are you? I'm not more unless you are to the degree less. If the Patriots were 8-0, Cam Newton 6-2 doesn't mean anything. If the Patriots were 8-0, Tom Brady 6-2 doesn't mean anything. Tom Brady 6-2 is more impressive because the Patriots are 2-5. Tom Brady 6-2 is in comparison to what the Patriots are doing. So that is why he is. There has to be a comparison, Sal.
Here's my comparison. This is short, and this is not even on the level of this, but it brought it into perspective for me when I was a youngster. I told you I ran track and I was hella fast. Won the Nationals in the 400. Laugh now, but you didn't laugh then because I was out there tilting. But you know how it goes in track. You race in the city. Then you go to the state. Yep. Then you go to the regionals. And then you go to nationals. And even internationals. I used to see this same kid that would beat me sometimes, and then we were getting to the city level, to the state, and I would see him. We would go back and forth who would win. But I won the nationals on him. That felt good. But you know what felt better? He PR'd in the race that I beat him in. And that's when it sunk in.
But let me ask you this.
I was like, you know what? That's what matters most. I got the most out of him, and I still have more.
But did you PR and PR, for y'all don't know no personal record, did you PR in that same race?
Yeah, I did too.
So that's my point.
No, you know
you
what my point?
PR'd as well.
No.
If you wouldn't have, if you
You're taking my point away from me. My point was this. I did my best, and I was rooting for him to do his best, and he did his best. If he would have beat me, but I did my best, you think I'm going to sit there and be hating on him?
Here's why your argument doesn't work.
What?
It's because your success was not directly attributed to the other guy's success in terms of you both winning. In this scenario, right? In this scenario, you have two people that coexisted that won because of one another.
Right.
All right. So now that one is losing and the other is winning, I'm not saying that you got to have hate in your heart to not wish somebody well. All right. But what I am saying here is that they had success together. There has been this age-old discussion point. Who is successful without one another? Whose career is what without one another? And we're finding out whose career is what without the other. And one is winning while the other is losing. There is no reason for me to wish you ill will. But I am sitting there saying, y'all did win because of number 12.
I'm with you, Uncle LeVar.
I'm just saying.
I'm with Uncle LeVar.
You're right, Uncle LeVar. You've been married, what, 16 years?
I am not an uncle. I am an uncle.
I don't know about that.
And I do dye my hair.
LeVar, 16 years, right, married? True?
Yeah, 16.
Okay, so you're the closest one to understanding this.
You got to learn to lose to be able to win.
Being in a relationship that long. I'm not wishing this. Say something happens, you guys split apart, divorce. After all that y'all been through for that long, that great, and all that is created, you now will have a rooting interest against your wife or your ex-wife in that situation?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Y'all are just different. I'm glad I was raised in truth. I'm glad I was running truth. Oh, man, get out of here. Coming up, Carson Wentz. More turnovers. And y'all just dirty Max. He said yes. We'll tell you if he's the NFL's biggest disappointment. No, LeVar is. Speak for yourself. Haters Edition. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, Haters Edition. Let's talk about Carson Wentz. His Eagles are in first place, but he's been a turnover machine. Leads the league with 16 turnovers and is near the bottom in passer rating and completion percentage. You hear that, Acho? So, I ask you, Is Carson Wentz the biggest disappointment so far this season in the entire NFL and this entire world?
Honestly, you're probably a bigger disappointment than Carson Wentz.
You still hot. You are a hater. You are a hater. I got text messages from you, though, big dog, from day one, so don't you do this.
Chill. Okay? My dog, Carson Wentz is by far not at all the biggest disappointment. Like, what? This is a dumb question. This is a silly question. Damn. You must have wrote this. You must have typed it. You must have thought it up. It's ludicrous.
I used to love you, too.
Bruh. Carson Wentz, if anything, he might be the most resilient player this season. Carson Wentz, he might be the most mentally tough player this season. But disappointment? It's not the adjective I would use to describe him.
Really?
I can think of some disappointments, Marcellus.
Okay.
I can think of some guys across the league, but I'll get to them. I'm not going to diminish somebody else. First, let me just praise Carson Wentz.
Oh, yeah.
Has Carson Wentz showed the most fight this season? Yes. Is Carson Wentz leading the NFC East? Yeah, he is. Carson Wentz, does he have the leading receiver since week 4, a guy that was previously on practice squad just last year? Yeah, he does. Carson Wentz, has he been with the most injury-depleted roster in the NFL statistically, than the Cowboys and the 49ers?
Okay,
yeah, he's up there.
Okay, yeah, he's up there. He ain't the one.
Carson Wentz, has he actually, amongst everything, still found a way to succeed? He has. So how can you come with me with this disappointment energy? I got receipts of some other disappointing people. I'm going to say that for my next lap. For this lap, I just got to let you know that was ludicrous.
Carson Wentz is the most disappointing. In terms of his ability, in terms of his achievement that he's had in his career so far, in terms of the expectations, yes, he's the biggest disappointment. You have to add all those things up and then say, what are we thinking of Carson Wentz and what is Carson Wentz actually doing, like leading the league in turnovers? You can't be the #2 overall pick and then being paid #3 in terms of amount of cash given to you, $39 million this year. #2 and #3. But then I say, well, how's he playing? Well, he's 30th. 30th in quarterback rating? What the hell? Oh, no, that's not that bad, because he's 32nd in completion percentage. He is second to last. Drew Lock is bottom. He's second to last in accuracy. Big dog. He's not an accurate quarterback, regressing. Look at his completion percentage and passer rating, dipping every year since 2018. 69 and 102. Then last year was 63 and 93. This year, 58 and 73. If this was anybody else, you know what you would roll out?
What?
How he cashed in, but he checked out. The same thing you said about the Cowboys. This guy has gotten paid and has gotten worse. That's not supposed to happen, but unfortunately, it's happening in Philadelphia.
Sel, you only look at one side of the coin. I don't get that about you. Does every coin just say heads? Because you don't see tails, because you don't flip to the other side?
I'm just positive when I flip it.
When you look at Carson Wentz, all you see is a negative. Let me put some things in perspective for you. Let me talk about some other disappointments. 2 names, Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins. Can we go to the full screen, please, about meeting expectations?
Kirk Cousins, I hear
Carson Wentz, 17 touchdowns, 12 picks. His team currently in first place, Philadelphia Eagles.
Not 3 wins.
Cam Newton, 8 touchdowns, 7 picks. Oh, God, his team's in third place. Kirk Cousins, 12 touchdowns. Is that right? 10 interceptions. His team's in 4th place. Talk about disappointment. The Minnesota Vikings, did they win a playoff game last year? Yeah, they did. The Patriots, were they 12 and 4 last year? Yeah, I think they were. Yeah, they were. These 2 guys are actually a bigger fall off. The Eagles, were they first in the division last year? Yeah, they were. The Eagles, are they first in the division this year? Yes, they are. How can you talk to me about disappointment when Carson Wentz has more touchdowns this year, a few more interceptions, but a better touchdown-interception ratio, a better touchdown-to-turnover ratio.
Hold on.
And his team's still in first place. Make it make sense.
Oh, man. Politician at play. It's still, I guess we don't know who our president is yet, and you are sounding like somebody who can talk out of both sides of their mouth. Elastic language, as they say.
Never done
How are you going to go from Cam Newton and his expectation and then put that on what the Patriots accomplished last year? You can't go team to individual in that context. Cam Newton is disappointing this year. But what was your expectation of a guy who goes to a new system on June 28th with a compromised training camp, catches COVID, and is in a new situation? You expected him to be Carson Wentz? Hell no, you didn't. Now, Kirk Cousins, you have a good argument, and I made that argument a couple of days ago. But I still say
it's stealing no arguments from you. Don't give my good argument show credit.
I got receipts on that.
What's wrong with you?
You did that with Aaron Rodgers, too, in the Green Bay defense. I ain't going to let you slide.
Chill out.
So here's the thing.
They notice.
My dog, YouTube does. So here's the thing. They always point it out. Here's the thing about it. If you look at what Carson Wentz is supposed to be, First of all, don't regress. Stay pat. If we pay you, stay that guy. You're going the wrong way. Look at some of the things that are happening right now. Even Carson Wentz, this is a quote from your boy. I'm not good enough. I'm pumped we got the win, but I'm going to have to watch the tape. I'm a little frustrated with how I played. Big dog, he's even frustrated. He even understands that he is disappointing. He's below expectation. You can't pay somebody this much and get this little out of him. He is the guy that literally puts him in the same compromising position he tries to save him from. He's literally the dude that gets your credit card, maxes it out, and then pays it off and say, what you tripping on? You say, you know what I'm tripping on? They don't mess with my credit limit, man. They don't took it down. The interest rates, the penalty charges. Like, you don't understand you're taxing me even though you're trying to be the savior. Not feeling you, Carson Wentz. You're getting paid too much money to be this sorry.
Here's the problem, Sel. Carson Wentz isn't having a great season. I understand that. When you talk about season, Harden, season, chill out. He's not having a great season, Sel. But when you talk about disappointment, again, we say expectations, we say reality. Okay. What was the goal and the expectation for the Eagles after seeing all these? They're winning it now.
Yes,
that is the goal and the expectation for the Eagles.
Better?
Is Carson Wentz individually playing great? No. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say no.
Better.
But is he playing winning football? Yes.
Is he playing good? First of all, they have a losing record.
They're winning.
They have wins.
Last two games.
They have wins, but they have a losing record, so he's playing losing football in the NFC least. Is he playing better? No. Is he playing good? No. Come on, big dog. Anybody else that was making that amount of money, single digits, top 5, and then you say they're 30th and 32nd in anything, you got to admit, look, forget it. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
It is.
What is a video worth? 1 million words? Let's watch a video of Carson Wentz right now. It just illustrates
a touchdown pass.
How much. First of all, you're doing play action and you went the wrong way, Carson Wentz. Anyway, I'm gonna let that live. Watch your boy Carson Wentz run 5, 6, 7, 8. Who holds the ball for 8 seconds? Looks up like Shaggy Doo, looking at him like I don't know. Look at the play action, bro. This is just a microcosm of who Carson Wentz is. Doesn't even do the play action correctly, holds on the ball for 8 seconds, and gives up the football for another turnover. That's sad, bro.
You're the antithesis of all things good. Marcellus Wiley, we live in a day and age where everybody wants to show their highlights. Instagram, it's an app full of highlights. Show me your best moments. Show me your best moments. Just because Carson Wentz wanted to show the world his truth, his transparency. Maybe a moment that wasn't his greatest. You're gonna sit here and knock him? Sure, I could take the Instagram mantra, Marcellus. I could cut all the Carson Wentz highlights because they won that game in which you just showed, by the way. And I could show them to the world. But I'm not gonna do that because there are highs and there are lows. Carson Wentz has gone through some highs, has gone through some lows. Hey, who scored the most points against the Steelers this season?
Is that a
Carson
thing?
Wentz's Eagles.
Is that a thing?
Who scored the second most points against the Ravens this season? Top-tier defense. Carson Wentz's Eagles. Yeah, they're things because, no, his first 3 games were terrible.
No, not just his first 3.
His first 3.
You want to hear this?
Terrible.
His quarterback rating in the win against the Dallas Cowboys was 61.2. His second worst of the season. Even in a winning performance, he was trash. 15 of 27, 123, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 2 lost fumbles. What are you talking about, big dog? Even in winning performances, they have to have a sidebar. What's going on with Carson Wentz? They even had one during the game, and that's when Jalen Hurts went in there and threw his one completion, and that's it. 1 pass for Jalen Hurts because they're having sidebars about Carson Wentz. There are articles written about Carson Wentz. Should the Eagles bench him? Should they have benched him in the Cowboys game? Really, big dog, 123 and 4 turnovers, and you're justifying it?
Marcellus, what I'm justifying is this. You have,
but they won.
You have unrealistic, lofty expectations that don't match the moment of the current Eagles roster. If Carson Wentz had all his shooters out there, then I'd be like, you know what? Dang, Marcellus is right. If he had Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, first-round pick Jalen Reagor, if he had been healthy, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, he wasn't healthy, Miles Sanders, he wasn't healthy. If you had Brandon Brooks, all-pro left out, if he had his dogs, I'd be like, dang, Marcellus, you're right. But did we judge Andy Dalton in his first start? We didn't, because we put his start in perspective to what is going on in the situation. I'm not going to judge the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, wherever they roll out there, in this first start, because I understand the context. Marcellus, can you understand the game of football and Carson Wentz within the context? You're just pulling out abstract numbers.
Okay. Cam have all his dogs, since you want to say Carson doesn't have all his dogs.
The only one Cam had is Julian Edelman. That's the one who got hurt.
Hold on. I'm talking about the team. I'm talking about it all. I'm talking about N'Keal Harry. He's going out there with 6 undrafted wide receivers, and you talking about he got all his dogs? Whatever. It's amazing. I know when I got you, because you start saying my name just like my family does. Marcellus. Let me tell you, you don't have context. Marcellus. I know my name, big dog. It's okay. You're taking this L on this one.
The world might.
On this one right now. We got to move on this one. I can't understand your Carson Wentz affinity. It's crazy. Coming up, Mike McCarthy is deciding on which of his quarterbacks will start against the undefeated Steelers. We'll tell you if Dallas will even put up a fight. Next, speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's head to Dallas, where the Cowboys, they lost 3 straight and are about to start their 4th quarterback of the season. Mike McCarthy is apparently still deciding between Garrett Gilbert and Cooper Rush. And now they have to face an undefeated Steelers team who leads the league in sacks. That's not good. So, Marcellus, will the Cowboys, will they even put up a fight this Sunday against the Steelers?
They're going to put up a fight. Like me wrestling with my son. Like, all right, is that all you got, little man? Like you and I in these debates. Like, oh, okay, that's all you're going to say, Acho? Here's the thing. They're going to put up a fight, and they have something to fight for. That's why, look, this game should get ugly, and it should get ugly fast. I'm not going to come up here and lie to you guys. That said, the Cowboys are going to put up a great fight, tremendous fight, just because they're in a division where the leader of the division, the Eagles, has 3 wins. Halfway point in the season, they have 3 wins. We have 2. Guess what? It's not over for us. It reminds me of growing up where people look at your circumstance from the outside and they see it completely different than you see it on the inside. I grew up poor, grew up on welfare and food stamps and all that. But I didn't know how poor I was until I got older, until I got out the house, and then I realized, man, we didn't have a lot of stuff. But people from the outside always thought it was more traumatic than it was, worse than it was. Oh, man, you had that? That was your life? That was your experience? Never in my life did we ever go to gas station and say, fill it up. Never in my life. I didn't know what that was a thing. Always the change that was in the middle console and the ashtray. And that was about it. Then you tell that story to someone, they're like, oh, my God. But experiencing it, it's not that bad. That's these Cowboys players. Everybody in the world is trying to rain on them. The sky is falling. It's a wrap. Look forward to next season. Tank. They're like, dog, it ain't that bad. We are 1 game in the win column behind the leader. We can make up some hay. Just not this week, because the Steelers are coming, and they're going to make them pay.
Big dog, I had some notes, but I had to pick a little hole in what you said. I don't think the Cowboys will put up a fight. Let me answer the question
first.
They're going to quit? It's not that they're going to quit, but putting up a fight, Marcellus, it is in the context of your performance. Like you said, if you were to wrestle your son, your 3, 4, 5-year-old, 5-year-old son, yeah, he might put up a fight in his mind, but in the world's mind, it's not a challenge, because putting up a fight is always in the context of how competitive the match actually is. I think the Cowboys are going to go out there and play hard. The last 2 weeks, they've actually played hard.
Exactly.
On defense, they have, in their mind, they have put up a fight. But it's all in the context of what we're going to see. We haven't seen the Cowboys put up a real fight in about 4 weeks against the Giants. They put up 3 fights this season. Giants, Falcons, Rams. You could also argue the Seahawks. Like, that was a competitive ball game. But putting up a fight is jargon. Sometimes in football, we use those phrases. Oh, I wonder if they stop playing for their coach. You don't play for your coach. Oh, man, this defense isn't really tough. Most NFL players are pretty tough. Or are they going to put up a fight? You know, you don't put up a fight. You go out there and you play hard. How competitive is a game going to be? I don't see the game being competitive. Therefore, I don't see them putting up a fight. They don't have soldiers, bro. They ain't got nobody to fight with. The 2 guys I think that can actually make noise in this game, DeMarcus Lawrence, Aldon Smith. But even if those 2 outside linebackers, defensive ends, do their thing, what is that, 4 sacks if they have a great game between those 2? That's not putting up a collective fight.
Yeah, look. It's a mismatch nightmare in terms of the strength of the Pittsburgh Steelers is their defense up front. And the issue with the Dallas Cowboys right now is really up front in their offensive line and that carousel. So, look, they're going to be outmanned and they're going to be outperformed. But when you talk about fight, I understand your point and I respect that. But the difference in this situation is there are some players that can activate in 1 game and then you can say,
which one?
That's something. Look. Ezekiel
him.
Ezekiel Elliott could light up. I don't trust him lighting up, but he can light up. This is a situation where Mike McCarthy's been in before. He started 4 quarterbacks in a season before and made the playoffs with that same team back in 2013. Is that going to happen right here? He can still make the playoffs with the Philadelphia Eagles only being 1 game ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. So I look at it like there are enough players that can put up that fight. More so, I'm hoping, if you want to see something competitive, the Pittsburgh Steelers play down to their competition. Sometimes you can't lie to yourself. You can go out there all day and say, I'm going to do the same warm-ups, do my same stretching. Okay, we got a good game. Who we playing? Dallas. Oh, man, I'll be in the locker room.
But let's go there now, because realistically, we know this topic. They don't put up a fight. Who knows? But when you're playing a team that's much worse than you, we've played that either in college, in the NFL, high school, whatever level y'all ball, y'all play that. You're not so much playing down to your competition as you are, oh, this is a stat game for me.
It's a stat game?
It's a stat. Like, if I'm a Steelers player, I doubt they're going to play down to the competition as much as Minka Fitzpatrick is like, oh, I want 2 picks. Whoever y'all bring out a quarterback, I'm getting 2 picks. Chase Claypool, oh, I'm going for 4 touchdowns. Juju, I'm going for at least 2 touchdowns. Benny Snell at running back, I might even get in there and get 100 yards. Like, this is a game where I think the Steelers are like, oh, we smell blood in the water, I'm going to kill. Cowboys are going to try to do what they can, but when you look at the Steelers, they haven't allowed, 30 points in a game all season, one of 2 teams to do so. Cowboys have allowed 5 30-point games out of their 7, 8. It's not a good matchup.
Okay, well, how do upsets happen? How do you create an upset? It's really almost something of a pattern you can see. You go out there and you say, it's a stat game. They sorry, dog. We can't even lie about it. They're sorry. Let's go out there and get it. And it almost parallels if you were racing someone that you know is slower than you. You get out to just say, ha-ha, you know what? You in for it. But then all of a sudden you let something off because you realize, this ain't that hard. Why pull a hamstring on something that I know I'm going to win? And I think that's where football is a brutal sport that reminds you every single second while you play it, it hurts. So guess what? Will you put up your ultimate fight in a situation where you think it doesn't take that much fight to win? And that's how upsets are created. All of a sudden, that team just hangs around. They're only 2 scores down in the 3rd quarter. Oh, look at them. They get a field goal. They're only 2 scores down, but now they need 2 touchdowns. They can win. You let them hang around. They start to find their way, and something happens. That's the only way this could play out.
I think, Big Bro, the problem I have, and if you're a Cowboys fan, I apologize in advance for these words, I don't know if it's possible for the Cowboys.
No, you can't go there.
Here's why I can go there.
Any given Sunday, baby.
Here's why I can go there.
Any given.
The Eagles are not a good football team.
No.
As much as I like the Eagles are not a good football team.
No.
Carson Wentz, he turned the ball over 3 times against the Dallas Cowboys in the first half. Four total. 3 times in the first half.
Yep.
The Eagles won by 14 points.
That was but Gucci Mane. That was but Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. Garrett Gilbert, he got to the Cowboys 3 weeks ago. Cooper Rush has been on practice squad.
But he's been there before. He knows the offense. He has some comfort level.
I'm just very simply saying, like, I genuinely don't. Any given Sunday, absolutely. I love the coaching jargon. You sound like Joe Judge. Any given Sunday, I get all that. But I don't know if the Cowboys, unless Garrett Gilbert is somebody who we haven't seen in the NFL, unless Cooper Rush is somebody who we haven't seen in the NFL, I don't even know how they can win.
What's the win probability? Give me a percentage. It's not 0. You have never seen a game ever. Fox Bet is not saying 0% chance.
No, but the Steelers are favored by, what, 14 points? The Cowboys haven't been this big an underdog at home since 2001. Against John Gruden's Raiders, Cowboys lost 3 straight games by 14 points. They haven't lost 4 straight games by 14 points since 1989 when the team went 1-15. I'm not saying it's a 0% chance, but what I'm saying is this. The Eagles are not a good football team. I like the Eagles, and I'm saying that.
Yeah.
The Eagles played almost as bad as Carson Wentz can play.
Yeah.
And that is playing bad.
Yeah.
They still won by like a blowout.
Yeah, but
it was still a blowout.
The only thing wrong with your example is week to week, you're not the same team. So you're trying to say the Dallas Cowboys from last week against Philadelphia is going to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Matchups, mindset,
obviously,
biorhythms, how you feel that day.
But even
all
worse,
different, brother.
I think if you're a Cowboys fan, you would almost hope week to week we are the same team, because week to week they're getting worse.
Yeah, but no. We don't want to be the same team. We want to be the team we used to be. Not this team. This team has not. They have not scored more than 7 points a game since Dak got injured. Because remember, he got injured during that game. They have not scored more than a touchdown per week since Dak's been injured. This is one of those where you just roll the dice, man, and you have nothing to lose. This is true house money, because you're supposed to lose this game. Y'all not going anywhere, Philadelphia, in terms of the win-loss column. It's a bye week. So guess what? What do we have to lose
bro,
if we're the Cowboys?
Even when you lose all your cash, when you gambling with your friends, they can take your socks, they can take your watch, they can take your shoes. You can still lose.
From experience?
Even when you lose all your money. I'm going to talk about that after the
they got
Coming up in our big story, the Bucs and the Saints are battling out for first place this weekend. I'm going to tell you why the Saints need to win that game more. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Emmanuel Acho, lonely at night or sometimes.
It'll be like that.
Let's head to the NFC South for our big story. Don't let this dude lie to y'all. Where the Saints are in Tampa for a huge matchup this Sunday. Sunday night game. The Bucs are rolling right now, only a 3-game winning streak, and their new addition, AB, is making his return to the league. On the other side, the Saints have won 4 straight, and reports say they'll have Michael Thomas back after being out since week 1. So, Acho, which team needs to win more Sunday? Bucs, Saints.
Man, for me, it's easy. It's the Saints. Now, I could understand an argument the other side, but I don't get paid to argue both sides, so I'm going to argue mine. The Saints need to win more desperately because if I'm the New Orleans Saints, put a chokehold on this division. If I'm the Saints, I'm not going to sit here and debate with, are the Bucs the best team in the NFL? Bucs, go ahead, be the best team in the NFC in other people's opinions. Y'all ain't even the best team in the NFC South. Like, that's how I'm looking at it if I'm the Saints. If you go out there and beat them again, you beat them week 1, but everybody's like, it's a fluke. They still need time to mesh, time to gel. Tom Brady, new head coach, new quarterback. All these excuses. If you come out here and beat them again 7-8 weeks later, now you let the world know. You put the world and the NFL world on notice. It's not a fluke. We're for real. We run this division. New Orleans Saints, they've won the division 3 straight years. If you beat the Bucs again, driver's seat to win the division again. To me, end it. And the debate and the curiosity, like Marcellus, I know you have, the Bucs are a different team now. End all that talk. Go out there, shut it all up. I think the Saints need to win more.
Well, that's why I think it's the Bucs, because they don't want to create a monster. You ever do that? I think there's some monsters going on right now in Baltimore in terms of, you say, Kansas City Chiefs. Kryptonite monsters. You don't want to create that. So if you're the Bucs, you caught us slipping week 1, homie. That's all you did. You caught us before we even knew who we were. I'm learning the playbook. If I'm Tom Brady, I'm looking around trying to get used to my new teammates. It's the first week. We had no preseason games, so that was a glorified preseason game, and you caught us slipping. But guess what? There were some things to build on in that same game. We shut down Drew Brees. Did he have 200 yards passing? We shut down Kamara. We shut down Thomas. We shut down Sanders. So now let's shut them all the way down. Let's not create this mindset that all of a sudden we got to look out for one team in our own division. We have greater sights. We have bigger fish to fry, but we got to handle this little work, too, on the way to our Super Bowl aspirations.
Bro, this is actually, as you was talking about it, I'm like, it's a really big game.
Yeah,
let me anecdotal, your experiences, your expertise. 2014, DeMarco Murray, NFL's rushing leader. He rushes for 1,800 yards. It was pretty unheralded. It was amazing. He had rushed for 10 straight, or 10 out of 11 100-yard games, but then he plays us. I'm in Philadelphia at the time. We hold him to 73 yards rushing. The next week, he rushes for 179 yards. So now I'm like, wait a second. Maybe it was just a fluke. Like, nah, we good. DeMarco done rushed for about 1,400 yards on everybody else. We held him to 73. Maybe it was so we see him the week after he rushes for 179 yards. You got whispers in your ear, whispers in the locker room.
Right.
Ah, man, DeMarco is that dude. But then you got more resounding noise saying, nah, we don't care what DeMarco does against everybody else. He can't do that against us. That's the same thing going on in the Saints locker room.
Yeah.
Dang. The Bucs outscored their last 3 wins, 55 points. They go crazy. Wait, but when they saw us, they lost. We beat them pretty handily. But maybe that was a fluke. Tom Brady gotten better, and they added Antonio Brown. I don't know. You have whispers in your ear if you are a Saints team. You have resounding noise. You can shut up the whispers if you dominate the game. But if you go out there and lose the game, those whispers turn into yells. All the doubt that was subsided is now on overflow inside your mind, inside the locker room. You can deny it like athletes, like we do. We deny most everything, but it's going to be real.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about that, because if I'm in the Bucs locker room, I'm like, dog, look at the Saints. They barely getting by. They winning, but the last 4 games, they won by what? A combined 15 points, so they barely getting by. One, we should win this game because, hey, we got to take the block from them and let them know that on the way to our goals, we have to win this division, and you caught us slipping. We're not the same team as in week 1. But then also, you have to look around and say, man, if we're supposed to be anything that's out there being projected about us, We got to handle them. We got to handle this situation. My therapist talks about one of the biggest issues with people in terms of guilt is the fact that it makes you feel like a fraud. It makes you feel like, okay, the reality is different than what I am on the inside. And when you have that disconnect, when you have that distance, you feel a certain type of way, and it kind of haunts you. Imagine if you're Tampa Bay and everyone's saying good stuff about you, but you feel like a fraud because you can't even beat the Saints, and the Saints is limping in terms of getting their wins. You said in the locker room, a whisper could turn into a roar real fast. And as we know in life, if you want to move a lot of people, just whisper to one. Let that doubt creep into just one guy's head, like, hey, man, I don't know about the Saints and us. Everybody else we got, the Saints and us. Because you're going to have to see this team again if you're going to go out there and hoist that Lombardi.
I think this game is so big because it has implications for the future.
Yeah.
Before you ever win a game on the field, you got to win the game in your head. Again, athletes, we lie to ourselves. Oh, can't nobody see me. Can't nobody beat me, big dog. But you know, as soon as you get that first you get that first punch on the chin, you're like, they're a little stronger than I thought. I think the Saints right now are in that same impressionable position. The Saints right now are in that same position of like, look, we run this, and we gonna keep running. I'm gonna keep on running, never run. Like, they in that mindset, but there's a very real possibility that if the Bucs do dominate, then because the Bucs are a different team.
Yeah.
The Saints, they not really a different team. Like, they don't have Michael Thomas
is back, and hopefully he's going to have a better game.
But he played, yeah, maybe he'll have a better game in week one.
Yeah.
But the Bucs have actually made one additions to their roster.
Yeah.
And two, there is a fact of they actually have some continuity. But the Bucs, again, like Reggie Bush came out here and said 2 weeks ago, they still got to go beat them.
Yeah, but look, there's a certain element to skipping the growing pains because we know to grow usually is painful. And week one was painful as a loss. Tom Brady's getting called out by his coach in week one, and everybody's losing their mind. Oh, this is how it's going to play out? Bruce Arians and Tom Brady having this kind of disconnect, and it hasn't turned out that way. But if you handle business against the Saints, then people are going to start to say, you skipped some of the growing pains. I'll give you this conversation I had with Floyd Mayweather. I think I told you this before. He said he knew what his opponents were up to every single fight by one punch in the first round. He's called it his straight right check punch. He's like, I hit him right here. One straight right. He said, now, well, listen for the sound. He said, that sound told me how this was going down. Think about it. In this situation, you had your first punch. You took your first punch from the Saints. Didn't really hurt the Tampa Bay Bucs like that. So if I'm the Saints, look out, because Tampa Bay is trying to stomp y'all, squash you on the way to their goals. Coming up, Baker Mayfield and Cam Newton are both sliding in the wrong direction. But we'll tell you which quarterback seat is hotter. Next, speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's talk about two former #1 picks that are in a slump. That's Baker Mayfield and Cam Newton. Cam's Patriots have lost 4 straight, and the former MVP hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in September, while Baker struggled big time in a loss to the Raiders. And this week, his GM, Andrew Berry, wouldn't say if Baker was the Browns' quarterback of the future. LeVar's back with us. Good to see you, LeVar. You keeping it real today.
What do you mean today?
Marcellus, you keep it real with me on this one. Which quarterback is Which quarterback seat is hotter, Baker Mayfield or Cam Newton?
Baker Mayfield. I'm looking at this whole entire conversation in failure. So if these guys continue to do what they're doing, which is disappoint to some degree, if not a greater degree, which one is in the worst position? And that's Baker Mayfield. One, because the regime that's there, if you talk about Andrew Berry, the general manager, and Kevin Stefanski, the coach, they didn't pick Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield landed on them. They're like, got to deal with Baker Mayfield. Let's get the most out of him. But if we can't get the most out of him, we have options because we don't have loyalty to him. But if you look at the situation in New England with Cam Newton, say what you want about Belichick. He was late to the conversation, but better late than never. He did choose Cam Newton and had interest in him. So there's no loyalty when it comes to Baker Mayfield. And there's also no consistency when it comes to Baker Mayfield. Woo! No back-to-back 250-yard passing games in his last 22 games. Woo! You can look at him in terms of win percentage versus teams over 500. He's only won 1 game. Teams under 500, he's undefeated. He's great. It's the very definition of yin-yang. Like, what is Baker Mayfield? The definition of inconsistency. So when you have that, but he's a franchise quarterback, a young quarterback, the offense has regressed to now 27th ranked where they were 22nd ranked last year. You built all around him, even though he's not your centerpiece. You were hoping to extract that out of him. But you're coming to a realization that there's going to be hot Baker Mayfield and cold Baker Mayfield guaranteed. So for me, the hot seat is with Baker Mayfield.
Big bro, I disagree with you, but it's not surprising based on the day we've had. Cam Newton's seat is hotter, but it's not that Cam Newton's seat is hotter just because of his hot seat in New England. Cam Newton's seat is hotter because, Marcellus, there is a Bunsen burner under every seat that Cam Newton could eventually touch, and all the seats for Cam Newton are hot. Cam Newton might not just be done in New England if this don't end well. There's a large likelihood that Cam Newton could be done in the NFL if this doesn't end well. Again, I submit this because Cam doesn't want to be a backup. Cam wants to be a starter. One team wanted Cam Newton as a starter this year. That one team is currently 2-5. That one team was 12-4 last year. That one team has seen Cam Newton not throw a touchdown pass in September. That one team is looking at Cam Newton. He has 2 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions on the season. That one team is like, wait a second, did even we make a mistake as being the one team that wanted Cam as our starter? Cam Newton's seat is hotter because it's not only hot in New England, it's hot everywhere else. And that's why, to me, it's not even a competition.
It's a good point, but I can't go with you on this one. It's got to be Baker Mayfield that has the hotter seat. And here's the thing. They're both fringe players, right? If you think about Cam Newton and his career, his fringe is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? When is he going to go into the Hall of Fame? Is he going to go into the Hall of Fame? And the other side of it is he had a successful career and is a legend at the least. Whereas you look at Baker Mayfield's fringe, it's can he be a starting quarterback? Can he be a starting franchise quarterback? Or is he just on the other side of the fringe, a serviceable starter at best that ends up being a potential starter as a backup that is on the team that has their announced starters? So both are fringe players, but Baker Mayfield has a much larger opportunity ahead of him than what Cam does. If Cam doesn't have a better season at this point, it is what it is. It's written. But Baker Mayfield can actually, end up being just a fringe average player at best.
Can we go to a 3-box? I got a question for these gentlemen.
Yeah.
Have either of you all ever been to a Nigerian wedding? You know, one of them like 400 people type of just lavish joint. Well, at Nigerian weddings, they have a high table, right? And
I watched Coming to America, though.
It's not the same, LeVar.
Oh, okay.
Golly.
Zamunda?
All right, I'm sorry. I mean, I do remember Zamunda's. I remember Zamunda's wedding.
Look, at Nigerian weddings, and I don't know about Keem's and Coming to America, there's a high table. That's where the dignitaries sit. But outside of the high table, there are also seats at lower tables. My point is very simple.
The kid table.
Exactly. Baker Mayfield is still going to have a seat regardless, fellas. It just might not be at the high table. Remember, Baker Mayfield still got another year left.
Yeah.
He's too good he's not good enough to be traded for, but he's too bad to cut. Right, he's not good enough to be traded for. Like Josh Rosen, there was still like, wait, Josh Rosen only played a year.
Fringe.
Maybe there's something there for him. So if Baker's not good enough to be traded for, but he's not bad enough to be cut, worst case, he'll still have a seat on the Browns depth chart, a la Mitch Trubisky. Mitch still has a seat. Cam Newton, not the same thing. Contract year. Right now, he's obviously not good enough to be traded for. And right now, he's playing pretty terribly with no future monetary commitment. Either way, Baker's going to have a seat. He might not have the seat that he wants, but he'll have a seat. Cam Newton might not even have a seat, another opportunity in the NFL.
No, I disagree with the Cam point, because even if Cam fails, I think Belichick understands partly why he is failing in this situation. You didn't have an offseason with Cam Newton. You didn't get a chance to get your hands on him, get deeper into that playbook.
Does he care?
Well, you know why that matters? Because now you're going to play Cam into a position where he's not going to command that top dollar on the free agency market, which you also have the right to franchise him if you want to, so you can control him in terms of being there next year. Or you can say, Cam, come back here. Now we can run this back. You're going to be acclimated to the culture, to the system. And guess what? This is your best chance to go out there and do something versus go somewhere else and learn a new situation. Don't forget, Jay Glazer just came on here, yesterday and said Hey, there are a lot of suitors for Cam Newton if this was a regular offseason. Next offseason will be a regular offseason. So I think that this situation works for Cam in multiple ways. But let's get back to Baker Mayfield. Oh, my God. Who 3 of his last 4 games, passer rating 55, 62, 73. Inconsistent. 4 games over 100 with his rating. 4 games under 73 with his rating. Oh, let's talk about Baker Mayfield, who 1 week wins AFC Offensive Player of the Week. You know what he does the next week? Not even score a touchdown. Goodness. Browns scored 30-plus points in 5 wins and 7 points or fewer in 3 losses. Here's the thing. When you're talking about an organization, you're talking about anybody who runs a business, you think about your next now. You think about what's going to happen later now. So guess what? They're already up there planning and said, we can't count on Baker Mayfield. His highs, they're worth it. His lows, not worth it. And that inconsistency is going to be the reason why I think Baker Mayfield's in trouble.
And that's a super hot seat to be sitting on for this reason also, is because after this season comes to an end, Baker Mayfield has the opportunity to be eligible for an extension. Here's what's interesting.
Yeah.
As much as we're saying what we're saying, when I say that fringe player, he's good, like you said, Marcellus, is so good. They're a 5-2 team right now. So his good is so good that he's going to come to the table and be like, I need an extension. And he probably knows, and his agent knows, that the best opportunity he has to get one is in Cleveland. That's where the leverage is for Baker Mayfield. So that makes the seat that much hotter as well, because you're raising the stakes not only based off of are you good enough as a player, but you're going to want a new contract as a player, and you're going to feel as though it's justified to get it.
Here's my issue with what y'all are saying is Baker Mayfield, if we're being real, he's playing very bad for a first-round #1 overall pick. Cam Newton is playing very bad for a quarterback, period. Cam Newton is playing bad for a quarterback. Baker's playing bad in the context of what Baker we have the hopes for him. But Cam's just playing bad. My final argument for why it's really Cam on the hot seat, let's look at this full screen. If you look at last year, the Browns were 6-10, Patriots 12-4. This year, Browns on pace to go 10-6. Patriots 5-11. Baker 15-7 passing touchdowns, total touchdowns, interceptions. Cam 8-7 if you want to go total touchdowns, interceptions. 2-7 passing touchdowns, interceptions. Remove the full screen. I can just talk to the fellas.
Let's talk, bro.
If I'm looking at Baker Mayfield, he's really about to make a 4-game improvement for the Browns. Right now, he has 1 less win than the Browns had all of last year. Right now, Cam Newton has 1 more loss than the Patriots had all of last year. Let's put in context what the players are actually doing, and let's remove the reputation that preceded the players. If you just put in context what Baker's doing, his team's going to go 10-6. 30 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. That's what he's on pace for. Cam's team's going to go 5-11. 4 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. That's what he's on pace for.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the weapons. Look at the weapons that Cam has. 6 undrafted wide receivers out there versus the weapons that Baker Mayfield's had all this year. We know there's no OBJ, but talking about Pro Bowlers on the outside, you got tight end, you got running backs, you got offensive line, you got everything. And in this situation, you got a coach who's like, I don't know you like that, bruh. We have seen teams have a quarterback win a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer comes to mind, and Brad Johnson comes to mind. They didn't build around those guys, and they won a Super Bowl. So it's not just because if we win, it's are you the reason we're winning? Are we winning because of you or in spite of you? Baker Mayfield versus Mr. Trubisky. And where's Mr. Trubisky right now? On the bench. Mr. Trubisky has a higher completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, and more wins than Baker Mayfield in their careers. You can't go there, big dog. Where Baker Mayfield is hanging and hovering around is what LeVar said.
Let me go.
Fringe.
Then let me go here. Let me go here. Because you keep bringing up these undrafted picks at receiver for the Patriots, all these undrafted guys. Patriots also have a first-round pick in N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Patriots also have but this season he hasn't been hurt. Edelman hadn't been hurt this whole season. Edelman missed last game, but Edelman ain't missed all the other games.
Is old, off steroids. Guess what? It's a problem.
Here's the point.
Wow.
Here's the point. Your quarterback can enhance the play of receivers.
Bang, bang.
Russell Wilson enhancing the play of receivers. Carson Wentz, dare I say it, enhancing the play of his receivers. So we can't just say that, wait a second, Cam Newton's first-round pick isn't very good. maybe Cam is a contributor to that. Or
but he's playing
Cam
with
isn't
house
helping.
money, Acho.
Yeah.
He's playing with house money.
Yeah.
See, what you're
Definitely,
failing to
bro.
realize right here is you're basing it off a trajectory. We don't have to play trajectory with Cam Newton. We already know Cam has gotten an MVP of the league, offensive MVP, rookie of the year, played in a Super Bowl.
Well, what's your point? What are you getting at?
Well, the point is you're basing it off a trajectory. His seat can't be but so hot because he's already accomplished all these things. If he's done today, his career is still solidified. If you look at Baker Mayfield, it's quite the antithesis of that.
So, LeVar, you're talking big picture. You're talking about his reputational seat being high.
Well, what else are we talking?
I'm talking about, will he have a job? I'm talking about his quarterback seat being high. Cam Newton's reputation is intact. Like, if you love Cam Newton before this season, you're always going to love Cam. If you didn't love Cam, you probably ain't going to love Cam.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay, his reputational seat, bet. I respect that. I respect that.
Well, you know what's funny? I learned about the NFL from being a player rep for 9 of my years. In terms of marketing, they really highlighted this, but they also talked about the league. This is the early 2000s. And they were saying there's only one thing that gets you paid more than production in the NFL: potential. And think about it, because when you think about potential, you can use your imagination, and that usually leads you to getting more opportunities. If you're a young player like Baker Mayfield, what is your potential? I don't think he has enough of a ceiling, a high enough ceiling where people are really believing in his potential. They're like, he might already plateaued or maxed out. Now, when you look at Cam Newton, you don't think that he's already reached his full potential. Remember, Cam Newton always had an issue in terms of accuracy. But then 1 year with North Turner, he was 68%, MVP candidate, then he gets injured. And this year, he's at 66% with no offseason. So you still have an imagination about the upside of Cam Newton, despite him being older than Baker Mayfield. For me, it's just looking at Baker Mayfield's ceiling. I think it's too close, too low to his reality right now, and that's not good enough. Coming up, Russell Wilson is being called the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history. Huh? We'll tell you if that's crazy talk next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Former top 5 pick Tua is set for his second career start Sunday against the Cardinals. Reportedly, he was named the starter a few weeks ago as an audition to help the Dolphins decide their future before the upcoming NFL draft. Head coach Brian Flores dismissed all that talk. Y'all take a listen.
We brought Tua here because we believe in him, same as all the other draft picks. We believe in developing players and the improvement of players on a daily basis. That would be the opposite of giving somebody a 10-game audition. So I guess that's my thinking on that, just so everybody's clear.
Well, I'm clear, but Marcellus, you clear it up for the people.
Let's do it.
Should the Dolphins be auditioning Tua Tagovailoa?
No, auditioning like, oh, we may or may not go forward with Tua. Are you kidding me? You going forward with Tua? You have to build around Tua, obviously. If you can't do something with the most efficient passer in NCAA history, who in the hell are you about to draft, big dog? Like, I just don't understand this. I think this is just all smoke. There's no fire to this. There's no substance to this. Tua is going to be tremendous in this league. Was he tremendous in week 1? No. But why is the sky falling already because of one performance when he has a defense that is leading the league in points allowed at 18? Actually, this is a positive. Wait a minute. Tua didn't do anything, and we beat a good Rams team. Still won. So let's build around him because we have needs all around him. We have 2 first-rounders next year, 2 second-rounders next year in terms of draft position. Let's build around the most efficient passer in NCAA history.
I'm with you, big dog, and I always like when we get to start to wind down the show on positive notes. We go through so many emotions during the course of the show. You called me out. You said I was like dirt compared to Tom Brady.
Me
I'm
too.
still recovering.
Me too.
But in all seriousness, big bro, I'm going to say this. Yeah. Don't audition Tua. No. Don't have a loser's mentality. Ooh. Dolphins, I understand where you were at mentally. You haven't, won a playoff game since maybe 2000. You haven't won a playoff game in 2 decades. So when your head, you still think you're sorry. In your head, you still think you're building. You're not. Dolphins, it's built. Yeah. Like, y'all might make the playoffs this year. You have a young running back, Myles Gaskin, you like. You got a young receiver you like. You got a young tight end, Gesicki, you like. You got players that you like. Don't worry about still laying the foundation. After you lay the foundation of the house, walk inside the house, close on the house. Now just start decorating with little fine-tuning details. Add a little piece here, add another receiver there, add a secondary safety piece here. But you don't need to start finding another cornerstone. You have that in Tua.
Yeah, let's talk about the needs that they have. They're pass blocking, 26th ranked, run blocking, 31st ranked. Do something up front in terms of getting more physical, some big hogs up front. Edge rushers a need, wide receiver, O-line, safety. Think in those terms, but auditioning him? No. But what they did was they forced him into that role. Remember I told you I didn't like the timing of it? That was all a groundswell and pressure from Justin Herbert and what the Chargers are doing. You can't have the 6th overall pick turning out to be the rookie of the year, and the 5th overall pick is clipboard chilling. That's what happened here. It wasn't about auditioning. It was like, I bet the money involved, the return on investment, the curiosity was, if the 6th pick is killing it, let Tua go out there as the 5th pick and go kill it. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy ends the week by telling us how Antonio Brown will impact Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. That's next. Speak for yourself. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy is here. Antonio Brown is making his return this weekend with the Bucs, so I hear you have some thoughts on AP.
Look, man, first of all, let me tell you something. Tom Brady is not a GOAT. Tom Brady is the GOAT. And when you're the GOAT, you don't lose sleep over the opinion of unwed sheep.
That's real.
See, Tom Brady is a different type of dude. Tom Brady is what old people mean when they say, that boy been here before. That's because Tom Brady is 178 years old. He was present during the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. He's the Benjamin Buttons of the NFL. But Antonio Brown's about to come to town. And if you ain't careful, fooling Antonio Brown takes its toll on your soul. If you don't believe me, ask Mike Tomlin.
Oh, man.
If we ain't careful, Tom Brady gonna end up eating pig skins with hot sauce, drinking Kool-Aid, and taking high blood pressure medicine. Because fooling with Tom Brady takes its toll on your soul. Listen to what I'm telling you, fellas.
Over the age of that dude, leave him alone. They're gonna ball out, huh? They're gonna ball out. All right, have a great weekend, y'all.